Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Whipsnade Zoo Recreation in Planet Zoo. Today we're going to have a look at doing this area here. So this is the hippo enclosures. So Whipsnade has common and pygmy hippos, which is good because they're both in the game. So we can try and get this area done. So it's quite a complicated area in terms of how many little different parts there are to it. Not like loads of theming or anything, but obviously there's going to be bits of water which is all sort of kind of laid out here. It's tiered pools, which might be a bit tricky, but we'll see how we go. And then a fair bit of terrain work as well, with some slopes and things like that. House-wise, I'm probably going to keep it quite simple. I think I've laid out, as you can see here, this is the actual sort of floor plan of the house. But I think I will probably just get rid of a lot of this and focus more on the outside, getting that looking right. There is an indoor viewing area here, so potentially I will try and factor some of that in, depending if I can make it work with the size, because as I said before, everything's to scale, so it might be a bit complicated trying to get all of the actual fine detail in. So yeah, I'm going to focus more on what everything looks like on the outside, and then we'll see if we can play around with the inside and make it looking nice. But yeah, we'll get the all the outside stuff sorted as well. Terrain is going to be tricky all around it, really, because there's sort of different levels up. There's a big drop down here, and this is sort of valley bit that goes down here, and then it slopes up on both sides. So it's going to be a bit complicated, but I'm sure we can make it work. So yeah, we'll get into it, and then I'll put some pictures on so that you can see what it should look like, and then I will come back when it's all done. Okay, so welcome back to the hippo enclosure. We've got pretty much done. Like I said, there's a lot of detail, so even though it doesn't really look like much, it's actually taken a long time. The terrain, like I thought, was actually one of the hardest bits, which yeah, I thought it was going to be really hard. There is a lot of just kind of gentle slopes. Like there's a gentle slope that goes down here, also another one that goes down the back here, and then there's quite a steep hill there at the back of the house, and then obviously the actual paddocks themselves slope down towards the water, a lot of them, and this one here. So yeah, I'll give a quick run through of the layout. So on this initial part here, these are the two pygmy hippo enclosures, and then we've got the house here, which houses both species, and then at the back here we have the two common hippo paddocks. These two are accessed via a yard here, and then the pygmy hippos have like an actual little underpass that goes through the back, in a sort of raceway that enters the building here. So this paddock here is the bigger one. So this is the one the way I've set it up, they have got access to both sides of the enclosure. In reality, there is a small little yard, or sort of small grass paddock here, which then leads to both different sides. But for this, they've got space for both areas, even though I've not actually seen them in this one at all. Actually, the left-hand one, I've only seen them in this one. So yeah, it's got a few trees in it, and then obviously a a decent sized pool, ignore the rotting food. Decent sized pool, we've put 2 in there for now. Oh. So then we've also got this side. Yeah, again a bit smaller, but another nice pool in there. I also made a little pig ark, so for the pygmy hippos outside they've got these pig arks that are quite nice little shelters that they can have in the paddock that are fairly cheap and easy to get hold of. It's just made of wooden panels that I've managed to place in that kind of archway fashion, some of the mulch inside, and they can get in, from what I can remember, they can actually get in there, but like I say, I've not seen them in that side of the enclosure, so I've not actually seen them in there. Some planting down the middle, and yeah, just a few trees dotted about, standoff fence with a little bit of planting in it, a few logs, and yeah, you can see it slopes down towards the pool from all angles there, so that was quite tricky. On this side, in between, there is a sort of dividing wall. I think they are the same water level. I'm not too sure, but it is divided by this fence, so they are actually filled separately. And then down here there is a bridge that goes from the public area up by the house across, and it goes across the pool. So this is made with just construction items. It's not an actual path, so a lot of this is smaller paths, so I've decided not to worry about trying to make it all work out, because I know it's not going to work, and obviously the paths can only be 4 meters minimum width, and most of the paths around here are like 2 meters, so I've just given the illusion that this can be used, but it can't actually be used. This bit here is actually like a retaining wall sort of thing, so I think this has worked out quite well actually. So that's just an actual concrete barrier piece tucked right as far as it can be into the walls, and then it's allowed me to fill both bits. And yeah, in reality this there's a little gap here, and it can flow down into these. All of these kind of can flow down into each other, and then they go through a reed bed system which filters it all the water through. So continuing down this way, we've got the first of the common hippo pools, so the smaller paddock. This one again slopes down. We've got a little actual ramp for the hippos to get into the water. A little bit of planting around, but fairly basic, fairly bare. Obviously they spend a lot of time just in the water. And then we've got down here another retaining wall with a higher level there and a lower level there. This is the bigger of the paddocks, which is where the hippos are. They currently only have access to this one because I can't really find a way to make them connected. So yeah, they've just got this one, but they're fairly happy in there. Like I said, I'm not going to worry too much about actual welfare and things like that. In terms of the way I'm creating the realism, they've got no hard shelter when actually they would be able to get into the building here, but because of barriers and widths of things, the hippos can't access it, but I'm not too worried about that. So yeah, again, a bit of planting at the back here, and then just a lot of grass, some long grass, some short grass, just a bit of terrain painting. Then yeah, we've got some yards here, which is all custom fence. Everything is custom fence, other than the pygmy hippo actual barrier fence. This one actually would be a wooden fence, but again, piece-wise, I just thought that this chain link fence with wooden post between the pieces worked best, really. I might at a later date add some actual wooden bits at the top, but I think it looks pretty good without it. I don't think I really need to worry too much. This bit here is just to represent the metal bars. They're wooden posts, but they're sort of all everything's painted black, and then the actual steel girder pieces for the bits in between. So yeah, these yards, and then they go into this part of the house. All the backstage stuff, as I said previously, I have deleted most of it, especially in this part here and on this part at the back here. So this bit can be accessed by the pygmy hippos, so they can actually use that bit. This bit would be common hippo stuff, but they can't get in there. Got a couple of air vent type systems at the back, which I've just kind of made rough ones. I might have a look in the workshop, see if there's better ones, which I'm sure there are, but they yeah, just to represent them. Then the main part here, the main central part of the area, is the main part of the house, the viewing area, and this bit here. So this path here actually goes over the tunnel for the pygmy hippos. So this I've done in these queuing path, because that one can be 2 meters width. So it's not actually connected to either side, but it looks like it's pretty much connected, and that worked quite well. So yeah, they're under here. There is a gap there for the hippos to go through, and they can actually use that, as I said. So I'm quite pleased with how that's worked out actually. A bit of planting and things around in the standoff areas. And then comes down to the house. So this is actually a viewing area of the house, so the public can come in here. This bit, as you can see, is not done yet. Bits of it are done, so all the roof and stuff is finished. All this bits outside the windows are all done. They just need to have glass put in them. They are going to be I'm going to use the actual glass barrier to do it, because I think that should work the best, because the newer glass pieces are quite thick, so I think they'll stick out. The wooden bits I've used here are quite small, so I don't think it will look very good if the glass panels that have been released recently are sticking out of the edges. So yeah, this I will get onto at a later date. As I said, everything actually took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to. The terrain took me ages, so I thought if everything from the outside is done, then the inside I can focus on maybe when I do the backstage cheetah area. So this bit here is a sort of brick path that goes through here, that spans almost the length of it. This part will be the common hippos indoor pool, and then over here we have the pygmy hippos indoor pool. This bit is a walkway, a staff walkway part between the two pools that goes to the off show area at the back. So I will try and do as much as I can of it. I think doing the indoor pools might be quite tricky, but I will try and get to that. And then around all the edges and bits, there's a lot of planting and nice stuff. There's some trellises and things that go along the back to break it up a bit. There's all murals and stuff on the inside, which obviously I'm not going to be able to do, but I might try and put a few of the signs of the hippos and flowers and leaves and things on it, just to kind of give an idea of that. But yeah, that is the house. As I said, this side is, I've left it all just completely open, so the hippos can have, the pygmy hippos can have shelter in there. But also this, I had an issue with this. There's this little glass skylight sort of thing, but I could not find a way to get a really good square that's the right size. As I've said before, everything is actually to scale, and a lot of the things I've struggled with in terms of the grid system, because obviously things don't work out if they're sort of capped at 4 metre wide pieces, so I couldn't find anything to fit that properly unless anyone has any ideas. So I've literally just had to make a circular roof, to fit that, which doesn't look too bad. It's not ideal, but from the ground level where the public would be, it doesn't look too bad, I don't think. There's a couple of posters and things around here, but yeah, from the side it looks fairly good. Once the inside's done, it will look a lot better, but in terms of the actual windows and things, I think it's come out looking quite nice. So yeah, the best features, I think the house looks good, and the pools, I'm happy with the way the pools have turned out. I didn't think I'd be able to get them looking as they are. I originally tried using terrain as barriers high enough to then have lower pools and things, but I think it definitely makes it look a lot more realistic with the concrete barriers, because that's how they actually look in real life. They have these big concrete bits that are these retaining walls for the pools. So yeah, there's bits that I haven't been able to do so far, just because of how long it actually took me to do all this. Like I said, all these custom fences, we've got these sort of lighter ones that are standoff barrier type ones, sort of less heavy duty ones, just for the public, and then for the actual hippo barriers, then these ones are a bit thicker, and these ones especially are quite thick. They're actually sort of railway sleeper type things in real life, but I didn't use the more sleeper looking ones because they I found they didn't seem to work as well in terms of manoeuvring them around and making them angled and things. Staff paths, I tried to make that fit in here and it wouldn't quite work. The pygmy hippo one was a bit tricky, but I've just kind of put it in this little corner here. I might move it at some point. But yes, this is the hippo area. I think it looks pretty good. It's pretty accurate. I'm quite happy with the bridge as well. It's a shame it can't actually be usable, but I think the way it looks is quite nice, and the way it actually does go over the water and has a little bit on the side there. The view through it to the house, I think all works quite well. Just the terrain is tricky. I've been looking at a lot of Google Maps and Street View and things, and I can't tell if it's sloping down a bit too much, but I'm not going to worry overly about it because I think it's roughly okay. It's hard to get a good idea really from the angles up high. So yes, that is the pygmy hippo and common hippo enclosures. There's a bit more to work on in this boundary sort of area, all of this area here between the cheetahs and the hippos. We've got the off-show cheetah area here, which is used for housing breeding animals, rotating animals between paddocks, and the houses and yards and things for the on-show areas as well. A bit of viewing and like staff entrances and things like that here. A lot of planting and things to go in here, and there's a big hill that's at the back of the cheetahs here that sort of hides all this area. A bit more planting and things to do around here, but I'll probably sort of sort all this area out when I do this side of the zoo here. And then we've also got down here the Africa outpost food and toilets to do, which I will get to possibly in the next episode. And then, as I said before, quite a bit of work still to do on this indoor area for the hippos, but I think if we can get that looking nice, I think it will really make it stand out and make it look a lot more realistic. So there we go, that is the pygmy hippo and common hippos. If you're enjoying the series so far, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel for the future videos for Whipsnade Zoo recreation. I'll see you in the next one.